I look like I'm like 8 foot taller than you.
You're alive.
Oh, hey y'all.
Hey, everybody. This is my friend Mitch. Mitch is one of my good buddies. We went to high school together, and Mitch is actually the one that got me into razors in the first place. So it's nice to finally have Mitch on the show, and we're going to talk about some things we've done, some travels that we've had. Um, we've been all over Tennessee, everywhere in Alabama, and a couple places in Kentucky. But one of the main places that we go ride is Windrock, Brimstone, Royal Blue, and a bunch of TWRA land. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about everything you need to successfully go ride at all of those locations and not end up dead in the woods somewhere.
No promises.
No promises, because we've about come close to being dead in the woods multiple times. And then two, trails, things like that, must hits, what's really good to ride out there. Also for full size and UTV, because it's very different. We started going in what, 2013 is when we started going to Windrock.
Yeah, somewhere around when we graduated. 2012, 2013.
Yeah, 2012, 2013, we started going to Windrock, and we started going in 900 XPs when they were the new hot commodity. And the thing that I realized pretty quick was you can cover a lot of ground in a UTV. And for those who don't know, I think Windrock, Brimstone, Royal Blue, and all the TWRA land all combined together, it's what, like 250,000 acres?
Something like that, yeah, pretty close.
Yeah, and it's so funny because I come from a background with Jeeps where we would go to Adventure Off-Road Park and we would ride, I don't know, how long would we ride? We'd ride what, 4 trails and it'd take us 8 hours?
Yeah, it's all day, man.
That's something I still don't understand about the full-size guys. I know they can cover a lot of distance. They can cover a lot of trails because it seems like every time I'm at Adventure Off-Road Park or I'm at a place where a bunch of people are, they're always in my way. And it's like I run into the same group and I'll go to the other side of the park and somehow I'll run into the same group and they're like still doing the same trail or going across the park one way.
Yeah, we rode, 120 miles last summer in Windrock on one day.
Yeah,
100
and
miles.
so we did, okay, I got to caveat that. We did 120 miles, but the last couple times that we've been going, we've been doing basically the gate to Royal Blue to the prison at Windrock. And that's a lot of gravel roads, TWRA. It's some trails. We went to the prison. We had like a late lunch, and then we made our way back. And actually, it's so funny. A thunderstorm hit, and it was horrendous amounts of rain. And it ended up where we went to the Eternal Flame at night. And as soon as we got to the Eternal Flame, it was like cracking thunder, lightning, everything. It was absolutely just crazy. So that being said, the first thing I want to talk about is what do I need to successfully go out and ride at these places? Because if you're from the East, we kind of have this really different style of riding here where we have a lot of private parks, a lot of private land where, at worst, you're a 30-minute walk at worst from your truck and trailer. If you get a spare, if you're really stranded or if you need help, typically there's somebody around. And I know that's true for most of the private parks here in Tennessee and Alabama and Kentucky and so forth. But Windrock's a different beast.
It's a different animal.
Yeah. So like I said earlier, I don't know exactly the measurement on Windrock itself.
I think it's 70,000 acres.
70? Okay. 70,000 acres. So
300 miles of trails, I think.
And if you go, on any just random given weekend, they have events at Windrock, they have events at Brimstone where there'll be a little bit more traffic than normal, especially on the busier trails. But you can get yourself out there and you can get yourself on trails that maybe aren't marked and things like that. And the next thing you know, you don't know where you are and you may not have comms with your friends. One thing that I always think about is we almost died at Windrock. Well, I won't say we almost died, but we almost got into a really, really sideways situation. One thing that Windrock itself, outside of the other entities, is Windrock doesn't let you drink. Windrock checks your cooler. Windrock is pretty adamant. I mean, how would you describe their drinking policy?
They are, they're Jews when it comes to drinking. That's for sure.
That's one way to say it.
You got to hide it.
Yeah, you got to hide
gas
it.
tanks.
Well, okay. So one time we had that brilliant idea. We got a brand new gas tank, and they poured a bunch of beer in it, trying to get it past the people. Ended up horrible idea. I don't know if you guys know, beer sloshes around if it's not completely full and it loses its carbonation. And also when you put it in a new gas tank, there's this nice chemical taste that you get to it. So none of us have grown a third eye or third arm yet, but bad idea. So
don't do it.
Yeah, but they have random checkpoints at Windrock too, where they will check you for alcohol and things like that. And when we say they're pretty serious, they're pretty thorough. They'll go through your entire cooler looking for anything.
Rightfully so. You probably shouldn't drink it.
Yeah, and that's probably something worth talking about. I know it's a lovely truck passing our temporary studio for the quarantine is my current garage right now, and there's the machine and all that kind of fun stuff. But Windrock is not a place where you want to be out of control in terms of drinking, because if you go right up the G1 trail, there's just crosses like on the side, and you know, I have a picture on my Instagram. I'll pull up here. Let's see if I can get it to share my own screen here. Let me pop this out real quick. I've had it's been pretty funny. The last couple of weeks, I feel like I'm like 100 years old because I'm having a hard time working technology, and I feel like I'm uncoordinated and old. But so this picture right here is just an example that when you're at Windrock, you really are on the side of these mountains. And a lot of times, if you guys have ever looked up Widowmaker, which we'll talk about in a second, even G1, it's just a complete drop off off the side of the mountain. I mean, with pretty much little to no warning. And the reason I bring it up is because if I was drinking and it was dark or anything along those lines, that could be your life pretty quick. And it seems that here's a good example. There's G1 right there, off G1. I don't know.
One wrong move, you're off 400 or 500 foot cliff. I mean,
yeah, it's pretty serious. So the reason I bring that up is, we'll talk about drinking and all that kind of fun stuff, but you really should be mindful of what you're doing there. And it is, to be noted, it is prohibited at Windrock, not at Brimstone or any other ones. However, going on, what were we talking about before we started talking about drinking?
Oh boy.
I don't remember.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I got to pull the chat up. Maybe you guys can help me. Here we go. What's up, everybody? Evan, we are accepting questions, by the way.
Thanks, Evan.
Evan is Mitch's brother, by the way.
And Miss Tammy.
Yeah. But however, Windrock is really, really cool because it actually sets itself apart from the other ones. It's probably the most friendly in terms of amenities, in terms of maps, things like that. Windrock's mapping is really well laid out. Windrock's mapping is very concise. The general store is super nice. Everything is like real expensive. So if you have something, or I would not ever plan on going to get something at the general store. It's a bad idea.
But they have it.
They have it if you need it. It's kind of a last ditch. I'm not going to be able to go out at 1 o'clock in the morning and go get this, or it's 4:45 and you just need something. It's there. It's a good option if it's there.
And they also have an app with the maps too.
I didn't even know that. Yeah. So they've got a map.
You can download it on your phone.
Yeah, I know a lot of the maps that we use. Y'all use Google Maps for all this land, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because if you actually, you can download portions of Google and download certain sections. You just have to look it up online and Google on how to do it. And that way, when you have no service, it's actually saved on your phone, and you can zoom in. And most of the time, over, from the the satellite view of everything, you can actually see the trails and pretty much find your way where you're going. Especially helps get into landmarks like the windmill and the jail and stuff like that. But Most of the time when we go to Windrock, it's really good to have communication if you have CB. I've got a little handheld rugged radio that I like to use. Communication is really important because there was a time where we actually got split up. I kind of let off with the drinking piece of it because Mitch's famous line is they force you to drink hard liquor because if they're going to go through and check, you can't take beer or anything. So you kind of have to hide it to a certain degree. And
do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And long story short, we got a little split up. I think the guy that I was riding with, he took a right, Mitch took a left, and we didn't have communications at the time other than our phones. And the phone service out there is spotty at best. And it actually ended, to kind of move on from that story and ended up with, we found some locals, and the locals actually went out into the trails and covered a ton of ground, and they found them. Thank God they found them, and they somehow managed to hobble us back. I think one of us was almost out of gas, and the other one was had a flat tire. So
that's the only reason they found us.
Was that it?
They're trying to fix that tire, yeah.
So this guy here, if you don't like talking about equipment to take, communications was the moral of that little story. But also tire plugs. This guy is the tire mender. I have seen him put more plugs and more tires, more bighorns. Let me say that. The bighorns. Bighorns are a great tire, but the sidewalls are weak. And I think it was one of the trips. I want to say it was the trip where we got separated. We pulled up on the trail. We were going. There's two entrances to the actual Windrock. What's up, Curtis? Two entrances to the actual Windrock Park. One is the main trailhead that'll take you up G1, and then there's another one. I believe it's Trail 2 that like kind of loops you around, and that's where we go to hit 16. But that one, they have people there, both of them checking coolers, all that kind of fun stuff. 2 security guards. But we went in that way, and we weren't on the trail for 6 minutes, and he had somehow blown a flat. So it's a real crappy way to end your day if you don't have patches, plugs, slime. It's kind of one of those things. Bring everything you can.
Just bring a tire.
Bring an extra tire. That's a good one too. Have the extra stuff too in a toolbox.
If you bring anything, bring a tire.
Yeah, I think the
tire and the wrench to take you.
Yeah, the socket. If you have aftermarket wheels, make sure you have the specialty socket. And that's a really good thing to talk about too. Is some of the tools that I carry. If you are in the Razor game or the UTV game for any length of time, you should have every tool you need to take your Razor apart completely. I think the things I don't have are things to take out the engine and transmission. Other than that, I have a toolbox and I have tools that can get the part off, out, whatever you want to call it. I can fix just about anything. When I go to Windrock, I carry spare hubs, wheel bearings, radius rods, A-arms, just about everything. I have a spare tire actually on my car right there. Yeah, there it is. I carry everything I can. Fuses. You really need to take everything.
Fuses are a big one too, especially you got the new power steering thing.
Yeah. My thing is my speakers. I'm not someone who likes to listen to music that much, but I have a rear chase bar on mine because I have a bed delete because of the spare tire. So I use my chase bar as my brake lights. Last time we were up there, chase bar was on, speakers turned on, and I think I tried to use my winch and I fried it and I couldn't figure out what it was. And I know the one that the fuse that hooks up to the accessory line is something weird. It's like a I forget what it's called. Blank. It's like a TREND or something like that fuse. It's not the accessory fuse. It was weird, the one that blew. So I always keep extra fuses with me, so that doesn't happen again. And also, it's probably worth going through and rewiring some things so that doesn't happen again. But I take a Milwaukee Impact with all the metric tools on there. I take, like I said, tire plugs. Those are the ones you're really going to have.
Zip ties.
Zip ties can fix everything. I've got 3 or 4 full packs of zip ties, and also axles. You might as well just take everything. If you've got it, take it. And a lot of times you can hobble your way back to the truck. if you break an axle, it's not going to end your day. If you blow a fuse, it's probably not going to end your day. But it's always helpful to have those things so you guys can keep going. Air pump. That's another really big one. Is an air pump too, because what we have done in the past, and to kind of branch into the actual talk about the parks and things like that, is we've done trips where we leave about 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, and we go out 6 hours, 7 hours one way. We'll go 6 or 7 hours one way. I think in the past that has primarily been, I think we've done trips where we've just explored for 6 or 7 hours, and then we've done like destination, like I said, the Gate of Royal Blue all the way over to the jail on the other side of Windrock, and then back. But you just got to have the mindset that you're not out there. If you're an East Coast guy, or if you're someone who's from the West Coast looking to make this trail or looking to come visit Windrock, you're not there to hit the craziest trail that they have there. You're there to kind of see the sights, hit some trails while you're at it. You're not trying to blow the machine out. And a lot of people out there go out there and have the tendency to want to hit the crazy double black diamond trail that's 50 miles back in the woods. You got to think about your machine. How are you going to get it back? And I've seen people. I'm a member of the Windrock Riders group on Facebook. People go ride Windrock by themselves, and that is terrifying.
Yeah, there's a difference in AOP or 1,000-acre place and Windrock. Windrock, I mean, you're like you said, you go hours out, and you're hours back to your truck. I mean, you got to really plan what you're doing for sure.
I saw a guy last night, and he's like on trail 16, need a pull, about to flip over. That was a Facebook status, and I was just like, what? Why have you generated this situation where you can be in this for sure?
Yeah, it's not a place you want to go by yourself.
No, especially
trail 16.
So we'll talk about it. Let's talk about Windrock. I'm gonna pull the map up here for Windrock.
And a winch. Get you a winch.
Yeah.
Normal people like us, not you racer guys. Y'all do whatever you want, but get you a winch. You might never use it, but the day you do use it, you're gonna be glad you got it.
I think a winch is something you should already have on every car. Okay, so I'm going to do a little bit of talking about this map. If you're listening to the audio only version, I'm going to do the best I can, but I highly recommend checking out the YouTube, Facebook version so you guys can see exactly what we're talking about.
This parking lot.
Parking lot is right here next to, where we are. Right, it's downhill bicycle course, Windrock Road,
down here.
P1. No. It's where's 22? Right here. Okay, so there's the parking lot. Okay. All right. So if everyone, oops, do that again. If everyone can see here, this P1 22 area. So that's actually where the general store is, and you'll see the downhill bicycle course is there as well. We have mountain biked before. We're not any good at it by chance, but I would love to go down there and try and mountain bike some of those courses.
You're crazy.
Yeah, you risk your life. Those are some serious.
You can hear these guys yelling from 3 miles away while they're going down these downhill bicycle courses.
And all you really hear is like the chain, or I don't know how a bike works, but you hear the zzz, and it's just ripping. So it is awesome.
They take a truck, they load up in the back of a truck to the top of the mountain, and then they ride straight down the mountain. It's just downhill craziness.
It's a lot like what you would see on like Red Bull Rampage, where they do like Colorado wood stuff, that kind of thing. So cool. Curtis, Windrock is about 70,000 acres. Now we're also going to talk about Brimstone, Royal Blue, and TWRA land that makes it into, Windrock turns into 250,000 acres or something crazy. It's not an exact number, but some things to hit at Windrock is, we mentioned earlier about being able to go into Windrock 2 different locations. So P1 in this downhill bicycle course where you actually follow the G1 trail up here. If you see, it's got 15 right here. If I'm not mistaken, that is actually G1, where G1 like that's how you go up the mountain right there, and it turns into G1 up here. But that's how you actually get on the mountain is through either 22, 1, 2, or this main road right here. I don't know why they're not showing it like that, but 15 is actually, if I'm not mistaken, it's Rattle Rock, and that's a huge bouncer trail. We've driven beside it, and it's one of those that if you're in a UTV, absolutely not. But if you're in a buggy, go for it. It's right off the parking lot, and it's nasty right out of the gate. It's a great way to end your day quick because it's brutal. However, if we're trying to go to the Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary, what we typically will do for starting at Windrock is we'll ride 22, which P1 is right here. This is the parking lot area. Is you just take a left right out of the parking lot, hit 22. Now 22, I've seen some pictures of it recently. I think they just repaved it.
I think they're working on it right now.
Yeah, like
Dude,
it was so washed out that vehicles were flipping over just like as they were. It's been a while since we've hit this side of Windrock, but I can tell you that 22 is a really good trail.
Yeah.
If you're trying to go out there and actually do some good trail riding in a UTV or a full size, it's a pretty gnarly trail. I think right out of the gate, probably about a mile in, you had a pretty serious hill climb.
Well, it's cool because you can either take the gravel road to where 22 ends up, or you can take a trail 22 to get to, it's a destination trail too.
Yeah, absolutely. Because 22 ultimately it kicks you over to the left side of the park, and Mitch is exactly right. 22 ultimately ends up meeting with G22 up here. If you're looking at the video version, I've got my mouse on it, and also G5. And G5, excuse me, G5 is actually what will carry you over to the other side of the park to help you keep going towards the penitentiary. But 22 is an awesome trail. There's a lot of really good views on that. It actually winds you through the creek a little bit there.
Waterfall too, isn't there? Big bridge waterfall thing or something.
I don't know, man. It's been a while since we've done 22. I think that from the pictures I've seen from it, it looks very different than what we did. So take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt about this side of the park. 22 is a great trail. It's still marked blue as of today. It's not black or anything like that. I would imagine with the fact that they're doing maintenance on it right now, that they're trying to keep it blue, which would make sense to me.
Yeah.
Because it's it's the fastest way. I won't say the fastest, but it's probably the most fun way to get to the left side of the park. But anyways, you hit 22. 21 is a good trail too, but it can get a little gnarly. That's a switchback. It's like real rocky.
Oh, yeah. That's the thing about Windrock. When you get in the harder trails, there's a bunch of rock and stuff.
Windrock is full of
Windrock, you'll break your step for sure.
Yeah, it's a lot rougher on parts. Rocks are bigger, and the turns are tighter, and the drop offs on the side of the trail are much more severe.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
But probably the best place to go ride.
Right? Yeah, if you're trying to go ride trails, 100% Windrock's the best place to go. And like I said, we'll talk about Brimstone and all that stuff shortly. And it's a little different in terms of the kind of trails. But if you're trying to go to some good technical trails that'll give you a good challenge, Windrock's a great park.
And pretty.
And
scenery.
Probably prettier than the other three options for sure. But 22 up to G5. And I know in the past, we've always done we've always gone down G5, followed G6 down here if you're following on here, and then to 27. Now 27, it actually dead ends, and you can see that on the map there. I'm not sure if they've fixed it, or I'm going to air quotes here, fixed it. But there is a cow path / side trail that dumps off into a creek at the end of 27. And if you're on 27 here, I'm gonna take that off the map for a second. If you're going to 27 and you hit the dead end, immediately to your left, there's these drop down kind of just bypass trails, and they'll dump you into a creek. You follow that creek straight out, and it literally takes you into the town of Petros,
where the jail is.
Yeah, where the jail is, and also
pop out from the creek to a neighborhood.
Yes,
to the jail. Basically, it's really weird, but everybody knows it. It's okay. You can do it.
Yeah, the last time that we went to Petros, we had state troopers pass us. We had county police pass us. They didn't pull us over or do anything. I don't have tags. I had brake lights on my vehicle and all that kind of fun stuff. I was, about as legal as everybody else without tags, I guess is the right way to say that. But anyways, it's a good place. If you're trying to get to the jail, that's probably the fastest way to get there.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a really good trail too.
Because we went for years and you couldn't get into the jail. So
yeah, the jail itself, we'll talk about that, is kind of crazy, the storyline. We used to come down when we were coming in 2012, 2013. We would come down to the jail, and the guy that lives across the street, he like works for the fire department or something. He would, jump in his razor. You'd hear him come running down the road, and he'd tell you to get out, or he has to call the cops, blah blah blah. And if he's feeling particularly nice, which I think he's a really nice guy, because I'm sure he dealt with it all the time, is he tell you a little bit about what the jail was and where you were and stuff like that. But it's amazing. They've opened it up. They've turned it into a distillery. Everyone's pretty familiar with that. Brushy Mountain Distillery. It's a restaurant now you can go have lunch at. They're open again from the quarantine, from what I understand. So they're open now, and I don't know the hours, but you can definitely do some research on Facebook or go to their website, Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary, and you should be able to find it pretty quick.
Who's the guy that was kept there?
James Earl Ray, the guy that assassinated Dr. King in the 60s, 60s, 70s, something like that. I work on razors.
Pretty cool. Cool stuff. Pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, it is really cool.
And they got good food.
They do have good food. We did a tour of the prison the last time we were there. It was super informative. I think it was $10 or something. It was pretty cheap. But it was really, really fun. I highly recommend. If you've never been to Windrock, you want to hit some good trails, that's a great way to start. Takes about, I don't know what. If you start at 8, you'll be there at 1. If you ride like at a moderate pace. We have a bad habit of riding real fast. I think the last time we went to Windrock, we were averaging probably 30 miles an hour because we rode a lot of gravel roads, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. But that's a great way to do it. I've got pulled up here how to get to the windmills. That's always one that people like to know. Go up 26, over to 36 or 35. So let's find 26 here.
Windmills are a must. I mean, it's not that technical to get there, but it's a cool.
Yeah. So
and they're huge.
Here's 26 over here. It says up 26 and then 35 or 36. And I'm assuming that the windmills are in this area right here.
I think so.
You pretty much, once you see them, just drive to them. I know that sounds.
There's only one trail. Once you start seeing them, there's only really one route to get there, isn't there?
Yep. Sorry, I forgot you guys didn't get the chance to see the screen. So here's the screen. If you look over the bottom left corner here, they were saying up 26, 35, 36, and then the windmill should be in this area right here.
You can't miss it.
Yeah, once you see them, if you just keep driving towards them, you should be fine to find your way to the bottom of them. Pretty cool. Really cool thing. If you're going to go, it's worth watching, worth looking into. One more side of Windrock, that if you're there to hit trails and that's your goal is to get some good trail riding, you will not beat 16 and 12. 16 over the years has gotten rough, real rough. Definitely need a winch. Definitely needs a spare tire, at least one in your group. 16 is probably my favorite trail because it spans a large portion of the mountain. It takes a long time to run. It's got a little bit of everything. It's got some hill climbs. It's got some rock climbs. It's got rock gardens. It's got fast sections. It's awesome.
Yeah.
16 is cool.
That's a good one.
And it's got mud pits at the very end. If you're coming from 2, like from the parking lot side 2 going in, mud is your thing. At the very end of the 16 trail, you got just super deep mud pits.
We don't recommend mud.
I don't like mud. However, you can take, I'll pull this map back up for y'all. If I can get this work here. So pull our map back up. You take 16 and you can see here, if I can get it all navigated back over here. 16 goes for forever. So here's 2. You take 2 to 16. 16 goes all the way around. And then what we've done in the past is jump on G1 and then 37, and you take 9 to 12. Or that just gets you the back portion of 12, and you can kind of run 12 backwards. Or what you can do is you can jump on G1. You can hit this little connector between G1 and G9, and we ride 13. 13 is not bad. It's got some mud holes in it. Nothing that's crazy deep or anything. And that'll put you at the start of 12 right there, and then you run 12 back. And I think the last time we went up 9, like 12 to 9. And
Because you want to ride 12 really one way, right?
Yeah, there is one way, and I can't remember. If I'm not mistaken,
Because you don't want to go the other way.
if I'm not mistaken, I think the way that I'm using air quotes here, want to ride 12. If you want to climb out of 12, if you want to climb 12 the hardest way possible, if I'm not mistaken, you ride 9 and then into 12.
Yeah. 'Cause you either go up or you go down.
Yes. So if you want the hard way, take 9 to 12, and that should put you starting 12 at the lowest point. And feel free, anyone who's out there who knows this better than us, please correct us. But if you start 12 and from 13, it'll actually dump you out at the top, and you'll actually end up climbing down. We've done it both ways. Going up 12, well, last time we went, which was 2015, 14, somewhere in that range, it wasn't terrible. It's a good climb. However, it's gotten rougher for sure. I've seen pictures of 12. It's gotten rough for sure.
It's a pretty trail though, I think.
Yeah. So we got a question about trail width. Trail width is
93 inches. How wide's a normal razor?
64.
This one's 64.
Yeah. So the standard ones are 64 inches, like the 1000 XPs, and then Turbo S is 72.
You might have some issues, David. Not really in Windrock, but more in Brimstone. You'd have issues.
I'm thinking in 12, like
Whoa.
in the 12, 16, you'll be fine for sure. 16 is made for full size.
12, there's some cutoff everywhere. You might have some issues in that big rig.
Yeah, I think if you stayed in 12, if you stayed just in the creek, you're going to find some bigger rocks in the creek. You're going to find a little bit more, obviously, some more depth and stuff. But I'm confident that you could make it through 12. Now, I will say that a lot of these trails that are more narrow are marked ATV only.
Yeah, they're well marked.
Yeah,
they'll have it'll say you can bring a Jeep, or you can bring an ATV, or you can bring a Razor, or you can bring whatever you want. But
yeah.
Oh, Johnny Kincaid's on here, huh?
Yeah, that's your daddy. Isn't that nice? But 12 is an excellent trail. We've run it both ways. It's probably 16 to 12 is probably the best trails you can ride there. That's if you're going for trail riding, that's it. But let's talk about Brimstone. Let's talk about Royal Blue. Everybody knows Brimstone because of the Paragon event that happens there every year. It's the White Knuckle event. I think they had something like 100,000 people or something one year, 200,000. I don't remember. Like, they have huge country music concerts. It's crazy huge. Brimstone is awesome. Let me pull up the Brimstone map here. Brimstone is awesome if you like to cruise. You can get yourself into some pretty hairy situations. I know that there's a bunch of like 95Y and like Y trails and all this and that are like, a little bit harder. But why don't you talk a little bit about Brimstone?
Brimstone, I would say Brimstone's not as rough as some of Windrock.
I would agree.
But it's kind of the same kind of riding. But he's right. There's a few trails you can get some hairy situations because it's not as rocky, I would say, as Windrock, but it's more rutted and hillier and stuff like that. If you want a family ride, you go to Royal Blue. If you want an in-between, you go to Brimstone. If you want everything and some hardcore stuff, you go to Windrock, really.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to say it. So let me make sure everybody can see this map here. So this is actually the map. I know it's probably a little small for you guys who are watching YouTube, but there's a map that Brimstone puts out. This is what you'll get. If you go into the normal trailhead for Brimstone, or if you go into where the cabins are, I know every time that we've been to Brimstone, we stay at a cabin.
Which is cool. It's
Dude,
out in the middle of the woods.
Yeah, if you're going to go and you've got a little extra money to spend on where you're going to stay.
Shout out to JK.
Yeah, shout out to JK. Get you a cabin. It's really funny, actually. The cabin that we stay in is, I think, the farthest one away from the trailhead. It's as far back as you can go. And we found, one time we were staying in the cabin, and we found this box. And in this box, this is kind of messed up.
Dad will be posting a picture here in a minute.
Yeah. So in this box, in this cabin at Brimstone, which is on the very top, very back of the woods, mountains, there were some jorts.
They're nice jorts.
And there was no explanation. It was just a pair of jorts.
It's kind of a box that looked like you put cremations in this box.
Yeah,
like
a
memorial.
Yeah, a memorialization.
It was weird.
Anyways, long story short, Mitch busts out and wears the jorts.
Weird things happen after 9:30 p.m.
Yeah, if you have been in that cabin and you know the story behind the jorts, please send them to Racing on the Rocks so that I can make Mitch feel bad about desecrating someone's.
Okay, I thought we were never going to talk about this.
Yeah. So always fun things at Brimstone's cabins. Brimstone has a really interesting check-in system. I know that Windrock passes you can buy online, and there's a place to buy them at the park and things like that. But Brimstone, you actually have to go. I think if I'm not mistaken, there may be more than one place to buy, but we've always bought them at the Brimstone Trailhead. And the way that Brimstone works is it's a place called Huntsville, Tennessee, and it looks like a gas station, and they've converted it into like a check-in point, and it's literally off the main road. It's very
main highway.
Yeah, it's kind of strange because you pull in and then you go about what 5 miles back into the woods, and then that's when you would have gotten to that farthest cabin back. It's really far away from the trailhead. Whatever, I guess. But Brimstone, the trails are mapped really well. It's a lot easier riding. There's definitely some rocks. There's definitely some hill climbs you can get yourself into. But if I were to take my family, we'd be going to Brimstone. We'd be going to Royal Blue. Probably Brimstone. I think Royal Blue, in my opinion, is too easy. Not enough excitement. You could probably run most of the trails at Royal Blue at what 20 miles an hour.
A lot of them, yeah.
Yeah, I would say you could probably run most of them.
But if you're taking your Honda, whatever those, 4-seater, the family, I mean, that's nice. It's still pretty.
Yeah,
you're in the same area.
Yeah, I
you're going for scenery. Royal Blue. I mean, any of them are nice.
Windrock wins.
And they're all
scenery.
well marked. That's the beauty of these places.
Yeah, they are, and they're all connected. But Brimstone's really cool. Obviously, the Eternal Flame is at Brimstone. If you don't know how to get there, I'm not going to give you exact instructions because the trail that we normally use, I just got word, just got shut down.
Oh,
the one that we went up last time.
You hear that, John boy?
Yeah, the one where we came out. I know.
It's Kindred. I changed it, Matthew.
The one that we went up, or the way I don't even know how we got down there. It was raining and thunderstorming the last time we went down there. But coming out of it, there's one trail that Brimstone has that's maybe TWRA land that's clearly denoted that'll get you down to the ring or the Eternal Flame. Let me tell y'all, it has gotten so washed out and so just rutted and nasty that there were a couple parts where I had to come to a complete stop, make sure that there was enough width on the trail for my razor to make it through. I'm in a 64-inch model, and my butt cheeks were eating the seat a couple of times. The trail maintenance at Brimstone and TWRA is
minimal.
It's minimal, and I think the way that they, here's kind of the way I look at it. Okay, you have this big mountain. There's a bunch of trails on it. New trails probably all the time. There's not really any way you can get heavy equipment back there to maintain any of these trails. So what they do is they just dump big rocks in front of them, and now you can't go down them. Now,
well, I mean, Windrock and Brimstone are privately owned too. TWRA is owned by the state, so
but there's Brimstone. Brimstone, I think the Eternal Flame is on TWRA land.
It is.
Okay,
that's what I'm saying.
So that's kind of what I'm getting at. Is like TWRA, Brimstone. The lines get a little blurred once you start really going out there. To ride TWRA land, you just need a day high impact license that you can get from TWRA.com. Yeah. TWRA's website, something like that. TWRA. Yeah, $18. It's $18 for a day per person in your vehicle.
But TWRA, I mean, that's where you see the cool stuff. I mean,
that's where you see the abandoned mines. That's where you see the
sand pit on top of the mountain.
Yeah, we'll talk about Dragon's Back because that's my favorite trail ever. Okay, yeah, we're getting some recent. Wow,
no longer burning.
The flame's not burning anymore. And by the way, when you're riding, pick up your beer cans. The flame was trashed. Y'all, we're going to lose all this land out here. I had a discussion with Phil Licciardi, who lives right near the Rubicon Trail, and he's saying that they have police officers out there now because of pollution, and not pollution, but trash. Just people who don't leave their stuff, and they're looking at shutting down the Rubicon. They're looking at shutting down the dunes out there. The West is way more progressive than the East Coast, and I would really, really hate to lose places like Windrock and TWRA land because people just leave beer cans everywhere. Just clean up after yourself. That's all it really is, and all it really takes. It's not that hard. But that's my piece on that. But Eternal Flame, it's kind of on that border. You get your high impact license to get through the TWRA land. I don't think that we've personally ever seen anybody or any like state park rangers or anything like that. I don't think we've ever seen them there, but they're out there for sure, and it's definitely one of those things where you would hate to be caught and get a ticket because you didn't buy an $18 license. So buy your license. But Eternal Flame's really cool. There's also the famous. I'll pull it up a picture because I don't know where it is or how to describe it. It's on the way to the Eternal Flame. It is the little mini waterfall overhang that people drive their razors off of. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Here it is. I Googled Brimstone waterfall jump.
I saw somebody destroy their razor on Instagram.
Yeah, dude.
I don't recommend jumping a razor off the waterfall. Just go look at it.
Yeah, so it's beautiful, and we actually have pictures of us there, and I'll try and find them. But this is a pretty low res image there, but that's out there. You can drive your razor right up on there. Really cool. A good time. It's out there in TWRA Brimstone kind of meshed area. I think that this is on the way to the Flame. If you follow, if you ask around a little bit, this is on the way to the Flame. That's really the best I could tell you about it. Johnny, the one who we're talking to via the comments here, is normally our navigator. Johnny, if you don't mind, tell me what trail map system you have. I think you downloaded some maps from a guy. If you let me know.
I think you just got to go out there and explore that's what he does.
Go
out and find the way and then go back and ride it again, really.
Yeah, Johnny's got a 4-seater that he's got loaded down with gear and recovery equipment and things like that, where he'll go out for a weekend and he'll just cover miles and he'll just map it out himself and he'll get familiar with the trails. That's really the best way to do it, for sure.
TWRA land is not mapped like
Yeah, TWRA land is
but like we said, that's where the cool stuff is. The Flame and everything.
And even then, man, I mean, so we'll talk about the Dragon's Back, Panama Beach or Panama City, Widowmaker. Those are 3 things that are all within about a mile of each other. And when I say a mile, I mean, if you're coming from Windrock through TWRA land up to go to Royal Blue, like everyone knows the Mexican restaurant at Royal Blue. If you type that in as a destination, it'll come up. But Johnny it's called Map My Razor Ride is the application that he uses. So feel free to check that out. But if you're coming from Windrock, you're going to have to go up Widowmaker. We went up Widowmaker, I think only once, because the trail going up to it is pretty rough.
Which one's
that's the one where you start in the street and you drop down and it's the really long climb, and then you go up, and you remember the one where we were like 2,000 feet on one side. It's like crazy amount of feet. Yeah. So let's get back to us.
Going up nor down's that good of a time. I mean, it's sketchy.
It's better going down for sure. So if you start from the Windrock side, it'll dump you out on this road, and then you kind of drop down and you go up this really long climb. That climb's gotten pretty rough up to the Widowmaker, up to Panama City. I would definitely recommend you have a winch if you're trying to get to either, this location from either direction. But it's a really gnarly climb. If you like good climbs, it's not necessarily steep. It's just rough technical rocks. And then once you get to the Widowmaker is why don't you describe it? I'm gonna try and find it here on my Instagram. I got a video of you going up it.
Was it this?
The one where it's really narrow and then it's like a big rock ledge and the 900 and your front wheels came up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's one. That's what we're talking about. It's the trail's maybe like 6 feet wide, 7 maybe.
Yeah, and it narrows into this crazy rock ledge.
Yeah, it narrows into a big, which this video does no justice. But on the other side of it is a 300-foot just drop off is what we're getting at. You just got to be careful out there, but it is well worth the climb. This is when we're in 900s, I guess.
Here, I gotta change it over to the right window here.
But once you get past this, you end up in the sand dunes, which is the craziest. It's like being at the beach on top of East Tennessee. It's the craziest thing.
Get her, big girl.
We were there when you had to wear orange. At T-Dub, if it's hunting season, you have to wear orange.
So you can see, it narrows out. You got probably about 10 feet, and then it narrows down to about 6 feet. You got this pretty decent incline, this climb right there. It's pretty for real. It's pretty for real of a climb. I've seen people climb it when it's wet, but I would highly recommend against that. It's not a good idea wet. I wouldn't do it wet ever.
Something about the edge being a huge drop off will really get to you.
Yeah, if you go over, you're dead. 110%, you die.
Like, roll cage ain't gonna save you on that.
No, it's maybe you'll hit a tree and it'll slow you down a little bit, but it's definitely one of those things where if you're going to Panama City, have a winch, and you can make that climb fairly easy. Just if you're being cautious, I wouldn't recommend being crazy there. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pull up a picture of Panama City. Man, I got all these cool pictures I didn't use. All right, we're back. Turns out if you're in your garage, your machine will overheat. So we are back. I believe we were talking about what? Brimstone, Royal Blue?
Going up the
Widowmaker. Yeah, and I was gonna find a
COVID props.
Yeah, man. How you been holding up in the quarantine?
Just COVIDing it up.
What are your thoughts on all of it?
Oh, you really want to know, huh?
Yeah, tell us.
Well, I'm just going to say that I shook hands this morning with a brain surgeon. So take that how you will. He shook my hand. He's been a brain surgeon for 32 years.
What does that make you? What does that mean?
Well, a brain surgeon touched my hand, and I haven't seen him in years.
Is it like blessed now, or what are you getting at?
I'm getting at that I don't. If the brain surgeons touch my hands, I don't think it's as big of a deal as we think it is, as the media blows it up to be. That's all I'm saying.
I would probably agree with you that the media has blown it up.
Well-educated man shook my hands this morning.
Yeah.
Not going to say I'm well-educated, but he is.
I am. I shook your hand this morning.
I don't know.
All right. So we're gonna.
We had to move inside.
Yeah, because
his computer needs a radiator. That's
a fact. If anybody can get me an intercooler for this thing, let me know. But here's a.
That's the sand pits, huh?
That's the sand pits, man, and that's on top of the Widowmaker. It takes you right up to the top. It's probably one of the coolest places that you can go riding because it really is sandstone that's been mined down into this fine
beach sand.
Yeah, it's awesome, and
all on top of a mountain. It's a crazy sand.
Yeah, this picture is balanced by.
Which that's a picture. You got a bunch of rocks in there, but there's actual just like sand.
Yeah,
and it looks like a beach at some of these places.
Yeah, so here's one of the pictures where this is off the top and this is kind of off to the side just a little bit. And I think I've seen a picture of your dad. His razor completely sunk in that mud puddle. In fact,
right there.
Yeah. But it's kind of crazy because it really takes you to like a Colorado, like a mountain, just not Tennessee. You can get lost, especially on like a foggy morning, like what you're seeing here.
Grippy rocks.
Yeah, it's all sandstone. And that's why if you go up there, what's really crazy to me is that you'll see like 40-inch tall tires, which means like a full-size rig got up there. And I don't know how you do that.
Oh, yeah, it's tight.
Yeah, but that kind of leads us to going up to the other side. If you go up to the other side from the Royal Blue side, you'll go up my favorite trail I've ever been on in my entire life. I had this on the back of my phone for the longest time. The trail is called the Dragon's Back, and it's got like grippy stone, like sandstone. It's got a little bit of mud. It's got dirt. It's got open. It's got gravel. It's literally got everything. It's got this really technical section, which the buggy that I have pictured here, small buggy, it actually sitting right on this nice crack where people go flip for some reason. If you ever go watch a video on YouTube, people flip at this one part of the Dragon's Back, and it doesn't really make sense to me why they flip. I mean,
JK flipped there.
JK did flip there. I got a picture of him flipped over there. Let's see if I can find it. But
get down in it. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, tell me.
Really cool trail though.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about TWRA land though.
TWRA. Well, it's I compare TWRA land kind of like Windrock. It's more like Windrock, but not uncharted, and you really got to know somebody or know somewhere to know where you're going. There's no maps really, but that's where you want to ride. If you want to see the pretty stuff and the untouched stuff and the sand pits and the dragon back that he's talking about and all this cool stuff, that's where you want to go ride. But it takes a while to get there. You gotta know where you're going is the biggest part. So you gotta go out there and explore. But even exploring out there, I mean, it's just beautiful. You'll have a good time just going out there, really. So, but if you want to have a good time, go to TWRA land. That's some cool stuff out there for sure. Yeah, but it can get technical fast. I mean,
yeah, and you can get, like I said, you have to have communications and you have to have gear to get back.
There's no service out there.
This is a good picture of our crew out there, and
there's a waterfall.
Yeah, I look like a meth dealer. I look like from Breaking Bad.
We didn't jump it either. It's weird.
Yeah, it's crazy what happens when you don't do stupid stuff. Your machine doesn't break into a million pieces.
Yeah, the left-hand corner there is just big rocks everywhere. FYI.
Yeah. So let's see. Are we? Let me ask you this, Mitch, before I pull this up. Are we allowed to talk about this?
What is it?
Allowed to talk about that?
Oh yeah, I don't care.
All right. So a lot of people want to talk about bad things that can happen randomly and how to be prepared for them. So this is one, a really, really, really bad situation that happened to the both of us. Let's see here.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. That was a fluke. And I mean, you want to tell the story? I'll let you tell it. It's your.
Yeah, what's that place called?
This place is called Wheeling in the Country.
Wheeling in the Country. Jeez. Yeah, we were there, what, maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes?
First hill. I mean, literally going up to see everybody else.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it a hill, just a trail. We went up. Luckily, y'all were behind us, and they yelled, "You're on fire, you're on fire." And so we jumped out. We had a fire extinguisher. We jumped out, pulled the plug, fire extinguisher broke, didn't work. We're all passing around, whatever. And basically, it just burned down right down the side of the trail, and it turned into a big fire pit. Is all it turned into. But yeah, it was very upsetting. And burned down to that picture right there.
What's pretty frustrating is, like Mitch said, we had a fire extinguisher, and it was a plastic pin fire extinguisher. So the actual pin that you pull to like be able to squeeze it down.
What's upsetting is all the guys with the buggies. No one had a fire extinguisher around.
No one had a fire extinguisher. And the reason I wanted to bring this up, because I saw it, this can happen in the woods, and you need to be prepared. The last kind of piece of all this that I wanted to talk about was not only is there probably, you have Moab, Utah, you have the Rubicon, you have, Glamis. There's these massive pilgrimages in the United States where people can go ride. Windrock and the whole surrounding area, in my opinion, is one of those where if you're a true off-roader, if you really like going, if you really like experiencing what the country has to offer, Windrock is somewhere where you need to go. Full size or UTV, you can make it to Windrock. You need to be prepared. It's got the best riding, some of the best rocks, some of the best trails, some of the best everything. However, things happen. Fire extinguisher, harnesses, first aid, you have to have that kind of stuff, because when you're out there by yourself and when you're out there just alone, anything can happen.
Yeah. Fire extinguisher is big.
Fire extinguisher and a winch, man, and fire extinguisher.
If I could bring three things, it'd be a fire extinguisher, a spare tire, and a winch. Yeah, that'd probably be mine.
You'd probably be okay. You can make it back to camp.
Yeah,
you can make it back to camp on that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But all in all, Windrock, a little bit more rocky, great trails, probably the best views out of all of them. If you're really someone like myself who really likes to ride trails, Windrock is the place. You're going to get plenty of challenge, and you can get the benefit of all the beautiful views that you get from everywhere else, all at the same time. Brimstone, go ahead.
And it's how much does it cost to ride Windrock? $40.
Yeah.
Which sounds expensive, but
for what you get,
it's way better than anywhere. Nothing against any other park, but in general, it's a better place to go ride.
He will not go ride. Listen, we started going, we bought Jeeps, and we started with Razors going out to Windrock, and then we bought Jeeps and did the whole, small parks. We've been to Woolies, we've been to Adventure, I've been to Stony Lonesome, I've been everywhere. He won't go Razor ride with me anymore because he's been spoiled by Windrock, Brimstone, and Royal Blue. It's really hard to want to go ride at a park that's, under 25,000 acres when you can go, and
once you go to Windrock, you don't go back.
It's pretty hard to go back because it's worth it. And if how far would you drive to go spend a weekend at Windrock? Would you do, a lot of guys do 8 hours, and I'm trying to think, would I drive 8 hours to spend 3 days at Windrock? And it probably would be yes.
Probably. Well, you got to think, 3 days, you never ride the same trail in 3 days, except your main to get somewhere. But you can literally ride a week and ride different trails every single day, all day. You'll never ride. You don't have to ride the same trail. There's abundance of just trails, and they're all well marked, beautiful. I mean, it's pretty incredible.
And a lot of it too is like ranging difficulty. If you want to go out with your wife and you guys want to have a nice weekend in the woods in the fall, I'm going to pull up another picture actually of here's a great example. This is the next picture from the one where we were up in the mountains, and like where it looked like Colorado. That's the fall there. It's beautiful. And if you guys want to go,
show them that one picture with the razors and the, the one we like so much.
Here's us at the Eternal Flame, the convict group.
Yeah, we escaped.
Yeah, that was a great trip.
Show them the, the trees. You got one where you got a picture of it upstairs.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it. We've been riding a lot. This is another great one at Windrock. I think that's going into Trail 12.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful park. Lots of like small chattery rocks, all kinds of different things here. Let's see here. See, this is where I met my beautiful wife. My priorities changed. Lots of pictures of her. But how would you rank them if you were going on a trip? How would you rank them, and why would you rank them that way?
That's tough. I think I like riding them all together.
So you would do the 8 hours and try and hit all of them and then go back 8 hours?
Yeah, if I was going to be there for 3 days, yeah, I'd hit every single one of them.
If you had, a day of good riding to go up there and ride, what would you do?
Probably Windrock.
Windrock? That's probably right.
Yeah. But Windrock and TWRA land, that's good riding. But you got to jump into Brimstone. So, if you're going to TWRA, you're going to hit just about every single one of them.
Yeah.
Whether you mean to or not, you're going to.
I think Royal Blue is the one where you kind of have to, on purpose, go out into that.
Royal Blue is a good family ride for sure.
Yeah. I'll say this.
But it's a good place to stay, too. They got that hotel.
Yeah. So the hotel, too, is it a Days Inn? Is that right?
Something like that.
It's right off the interstate.
And it's meant for razor riders.
Yeah. They have a parking lot. Also, it's full of mud 90% of the time. So make sure your truck's full drive or else you have to get pulled out like I did the last time we were there. But it's a really great thing. Also, security-wise, make sure your trailer's hooked up and locked and all that kind of fun stuff. Make sure your razor's locked and hooked up and all that kind of fun stuff because there have been reports of vehicles getting stolen out there. However, we've been there a whole bunch of times, and I've never had any issues. But here's the picture that Mitch was talking about just a second ago. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And really great. October's an excellent time to go if you're going to try to go, but that pretty much wraps up. Did you have anything else you wanted to mention about Windrock or Brimstone or Royal Blue or any of it?
No, man, it's just once you go there, you'll never want to go anywhere else. It's just that picture right there is everywhere. There's anything from a gravel road to the most extreme thing you want to do and in between. And like I said, you're talking about 200-something thousand acres. And hundreds of well-marked trails. That's the best thing. Everything's well-marked.
Yeah.
You can get lost because there's so many trails, but everything, there's a huge map. It's just a good, you get what you pay for there for sure.
I also saw on Facebook, there's a group now. I think if you're at the general store, if you're at the place where they buy Windrock passes, that there's, I think it's called Mountain Recovery. And if you're stuck or something like that, they live out there and they'll come do a recovery on your vehicle.
Just good people out there.
Yeah,
everybody you meet out there, just some either people like us or they live there or just good people all around. They'll help you do whatever you want to do. So
yeah, and the time we got split up, and I really thought we were going to lose Mitch and our other friend in the woods and have a really bad time. In the nicest way possible. We met a group of yeehaw boys.
Yeah.
Really I'm talking revolver on the ankle on a four-wheeler, came out of the woods and, hey, y'all need some help? And we're just, at this point we were either going to have a deliverance situation or we're going to have some help. So we were kind of stuck. Couldn't really turn away help, but they ended up helping us out. Man, it's so funny. The people out there are so welcoming. And if you're nice and polite, they'll be more than happy to help you out too. So
yeah,
that's pretty true for everybody out there though.
Get you a map and some walkie-talkies, and it's a good time for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. But with that, we will close it out. Anything else you talk about?
Man, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
It's been real. Corona. All right, everybody. We'll see you next time.
See you later.